So unless you've lived under a rock this year, you know that Nintendo is not having a very good 2020. Like the rest of us. But after thinking over myself and talking to some of my friends, I thought this was a video that I wanted to make just to kind of get this out there and have that dialogue since we're getting to the end of 2020. I just thought it'd be interesting to kind of recap what Nintendo has done this year and also what they haven't done. And before we start, obviously, I'm just going to go ahead and state the obvious that I know we're in a global pandemic. There are more important things going on in the world than video games. And obviously, research and development and the announcement of games is going to be significantly slowed because of the COVID virus and just making sure that everybody's safe. But that hasn't stopped Sony and Microsoft from not only announcing new consoles, but also tons of games for the systems. I'm not a Sony fan, but I would really want a PS5 if I was in the market for another console. That first announcement presentation was absolutely incredible. I'm very jealous of Sony fans. Even Microsoft with the Xbox Series 1X, is that how you say it? Or was it just the Xbox Series X? Does it really matter? Even they have announced Halo Infinite, and yes, it got pushed back, but at least they announced it and there's gameplay. Like, people have something to look at. Let's be honest, unless some sort of absolute miracle happens in the console war, this is probably going to be the last Xbox console we ever see. There's just nothing really going for it. And the point is that we have all these great announcements and things to be excited about for these other consoles, but Nintendo's kind of just waved the white flag on 2020 like the rest of us. I had this video finished and ready to upload, but I was going to scrap the video entirely when I saw that Nintendo posted the Super Mario 35th Anniversary Direct today. I'm disappointed that I still want to make the video after watching it. Super Mario 3D World got the Switch port that everyone expected, and the rumors of remastering Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy ended up being true. Unfortunately, these three are just basic ports with upscaled resolution and the removal of So Long Gay Bowser from Mario 64. Bye-bye! Instead of graphical upgrades like Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. It's great that they're bringing these classics to the Switch for new players, but you're telling me that's all you had planned for the Switch for Mario's 35th anniversary was more remasters? There are already so many ports on the Switch from the Wii U that I just can't get excited about more of them. This all but confirms that Nintendo's holiday lineup will be exclusively remasters of old games. As for the rest of the Direct, there's a limited time Super Mario Bros. Battle Royale that essentially rose from the ashes of a cease and desisted fan game. Nintendo is dropping some cool new Mario merch, like the Mario themed Game & Watch clock, some Mario themed events across games like Super Smash Bros., and essentially augmented reality Mario Kart. I want Mario Kart Switch like everybody else, but if I was a kid, I would buy the hell out of that. That looks so cool. All of this stuff is great, but this Direct was still a letdown for me. It doesn't change the fact that Nintendo is 100% relying on ports for the foreseeable future, and this is probably the last announcement we'll get from Nintendo in 2020. I'm just so tired of ports. Let's take a look at the rest of Nintendo's 2020 and what 2021 could look like. This is a very exaggerated graphic showing what Nintendo had in 2017 versus 2020. Obviously, they left out, the third-party titles. There's been quite a few indie games announced. Most notably, Bravely Default 2 and No More Heroes 3 are supposed to still be coming out in 2020, but neither of them has an official release date yet, so that leads me to believe that that's probably not going to be a thing anymore, unfortunately. But it really drives home just how little Nintendo has put out in terms of first-party titles in 2020. Because, what other notable releases has Nintendo had this year on the Switch? A Pokemon Mystery Dungeon remake? You know what's bad when there was a stretch where lots of Nintendo content creators were playing Clubhouse games for a while as a marquee Nintendo Switch title? Oh, we cannot forget, of course, Jump Rope Game. Yes, Jump Rope Game is an actual Nintendo first-party game. That's how little they've had going on this year, that we even acknowledge that that was something that they made. 3 of the 5 included there are remasters. Pikmin 3 Deluxe means we are just one step closer to throwing our Wii U's out the window for good. We're pretty much just waiting for Nintendo Land at this point. Very, very good game. Very, very slept on. Looking at the other two, Animal Crossing New Horizons, obviously a marquee title for the Switch, has been very successful. Paper Mario the Origami King being the other marquee title of this year, but it obviously was very divisive for the fan base as usual, being that different battle system, didn't have a lot of the elements of the original games, but I still personally think it's a good one. But that's really it. That's all they really have this year for Nintendo titles. When I think of Nintendo's 2020, I really don't think of the titles that they've put out or what they've announced for next year. I really just think of DLC, which I don't really think is a good thing. So far this year, in terms of notable DLC, we've got the last Mario Maker 2 update in early 2020, a Ring Fit Adventure Rhythm game mode. Like I said, Animal Crossing New Horizons was kind of bare bones when the game first came out, which Nintendo apparently realized, which is why the game's been getting quite a bit of free DLC content just to really add that extra content and depth that the game needed, so probably going to end up being one of the stronger games on the Nintendo Switch. Pokemon Sword and Shield got paid DLC in the Isle of Armor, but we still haven't gotten a release date for Crown Tundra. It's safe to say that the two most unexciting Smash Bros. DLC came out this year, being Byleth and Min, with no announcement for the next DLC fighter in sight. Not every DLC fighter is going to be third party. I don't want that. I want characters like Paper Mario. I don't think we'll get him, but I want him. Oh. But one is from a franchise with lots of representation already in the game, and another is from a game that nobody has played for years. Nobody plays ARMS. Those just aren't DLC characters to be excited about. But my concern with Nintendo in 2020 isn't just about what they've released for this year, it's what they have and haven't told us. Where is Bayonetta 3? We got a teaser trailer for it at E3 2 years ago. Can we please get an update on Metroid Prime 4? Yes, I know they had to scrap the game and restart it. I'm personally very excited about that because having Retro Studios back at the helm means it's going to be a good game. But give us any info about it. The worst offense, though, is where the hell is Pikmin 4? It was supposedly near completion 4 or 5 years ago. Pikmin Go might have been Pikmin 4, and honestly, I just kind of refuse to accept that that could be even remotely a fact. Take a second to think. When was the last time we actually got a Nintendo Direct? Not a Direct Mini, not a partner showcase, not a Smash Fighter character reveal, and especially not a Pokemon Direct where they show us how to brush our teeth using a phone app. I'm talking a full-fledged 30-40 minute Nintendo Direct. The last Nintendo Direct was on September 4th, 2019, so almost exactly 1 year before I'm making this video. We just haven't had much to talk about since then that would warrant a full Direct, which is really concerning to me. Like, it's great that they're making connections with all these third-party devs and showing more of a spotlight for the indie games that are coming to the Switch. But you know, we bought a Switch to play new Nintendo games too, right, Nintendo? I think it's safe to say that we're not getting much else from Nintendo in 2020 besides Smash Fighter DLC, another one of those, some more free Animal Crossing DLC. I'm still holding a grudge that we never got Super Mario Party DLC because that was like the one thing the game needed because it was kind of devoid of content, but it was really fun, but we still never got any. But you know, it's fine. It's fine. And maybe we might still be getting Pokemon Snap 2 at the end of the year, which I'm honestly excited for. My prediction is that we'll get more announcements and trailers for more Nintendo Switch games at the end of 2020 to coincide with the supposed holiday 2020 release of the PlayStation 5. The most anticipated being Breath of the Wild 2, which we haven't seen anything new for since June of 2019 at E3. If Nintendo wants to compete in 2021, that game almost has to come out next year. Other than that, what other big IPs does Nintendo really have that they can pull out for 2021? Donkey Kong, WarioWare, a new Mario sports game, ARMS 2. It already feels like Nintendo's released most of the sequels that they could for their IPs on the Switch, so either we're just gonna get sequels on sequels, or they're kind of gonna pull something out of left field and just either create a new franchise or just really branch out for one of their already established IPs, which would be kind of cool. We'll see what Nintendo has in store for us in 2021. I'm hoping for the best. I know this video is going to come off like I'm ripping on Nintendo really hard, but it comes from a place of being a lifelong Nintendo fan and just wanting to see the company succeed. I think it's just important to criticize things you love as much as the things that you hate. But frankly, Nintendo just really needs a solid 2021 with lots of first-party games after what they left us with in 2020. Nintendo doesn't have great relations with their fan base based on how they treat their fans when you look at things like their constant cease and desists, not being particularly supportive of the competitive Smash Bros. Scene outside their occasional sponsorship. They do a lot less than companies like, say, Capcom for Street Fighter. And of course, we cannot forget about how horrible Nintendo's online is. Why do we pay for that now, and it's somehow worse than it was on the Wii U? The list goes on, but those are a couple things that really stuck out and have bothered me. What keeps fans loving Nintendo is them making great games, not because they're just a fan of the brand. This is why the Wii U era was so tough for Nintendo. Nobody bought the console because of poor marketing, and also just there not being that many good games on the console. They pretty much ported over all the ones that they had on that to the Switch. So if Nintendo doesn't really put out more first-party games in 2021, I have a feeling that people are going to start jumping ship and looking to the PS5 because it's just, eventually you can only wait for so long, especially for content creators. You're seeing a lot of content creators start to play other games and branch out to things like Fall Guys and Among Us because there just isn't a lot to do or talk about with Nintendo right now. All of that said, I do think Nintendo will have a bounce back year in 2021. I'm hoping for the rest of the world too. I'm so tired of being stuck in quarantine. I get it. I get that it must be very challenging to make good video games when you're not in your typical environment to do so, which is why I'm trying to stay patient, and I will support Nintendo whenever they get back to giving us games again. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Nintendo, what they've been doing in 2020 and what I'm hoping for in the future. What are your thoughts on Nintendo in 2020 and beyond? Let me know down below. A lot of people will support Nintendo no matter what they do or don't do, so I'll be curious to see what people have to say down there. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you check out some of the other videos I do for Nintendo. I do quite a bit of Nintendo content, so subscribe for that if you'd like to see more. I don't usually do a lot of these like vlog style videos, but I like to talk in front of the camera and just have a conversation, so if you'd like to see more of this stuff, I'd be more than happy to do it. Thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully we'll have some more Nintendo content to talk about sooner than later, and it won't just be something like Fall Guys being ported to the Switch. Take care.